If you shower or brush your teeth or try to make your hair look presentable, here's some good news. Dollar Shave Club has a lot of stuff to help you out. Dollar Shave Club delivers everything you need to look, feel, and smell your best. Shampoo, conditioner, body wash, toothpaste, hair gel, even a wipe that leaves your tush feeling tingly clean. All of Dollar Shave Club's products are made with top-shelf ingredients that won't break your budget. You'll feel the difference. Plus, shipping is free with your membership. And here's a great way to try a bunch of Dollar Shave Club's products for just $5. You can get their Daily Essential Starter Set. It comes with Body Cleanser, One Wipe Charlie's, their amazing butt wipes, and their world-famous shave butter. And their best razor, the 6-Blade Executive. Keep the blades coming for a few more bucks a month and add in a shampoo, toothpaste, or anything else you need. Check it all out at dollarshaveclub.com/Chad. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Chad.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
New numbers in from Fire Command. The Camp Fire in Northern California is now at 125,000 acres with 30% containment. The Woolsey Fire here in L.A. County is at 96,000 acres with 35% containment. 44 people are confirmed dead statewide.
Yeah, not getting any better, only getting worse. And Mother Nature is going to do what Mother Nature does. And if it cooperates, guess what? You can get a handle on it, slow it down. It's a win. If Mother Nature says, I'm thinking I'm not going to listen to you right now. I'm going to do my own thing. And that's what Mother Nature is doing. Case in point, the devil wins.
The Santa Ana winds were forecasted to end last night, but now it's expected they'll be blowing through at least Thursday night. Red flag fire warnings have been extended now through Wednesday night and possibly longer.
So, guess what? Ugly, nasty, not helping at all. So when you look at this, here are the winds. They're whipping up. What that means is at any given point, they're going to jump fire lines. They're going to, as they try to, break the fire, they're going to jump those lines. They're going to do whatever they want to do. This fire is all they're trying to do is really follow it, fight it as best they can, push it in directions that's going to be away from homes. But as far as getting on top of it, it's not going to happen. And if it continues this way, we have a drought-like situation for the foreseeable future through at least next weekend before there's a respite. And if the Santa Anas continue, and they're a fickle bunch, you're looking at a situation where it is going to get far worse before it gets better. And then you've got numerous deaths, which they're still trying to figure out how many, but it is just the beginning because there are plenty still missing. And then you've got towns like Paradise, California, where several listeners have texted me pictures of what was their life. What was their life a week ago? That is the thing that, if you just for a second stop down and say, what would it be like if I lost everything today? Well, my family may be safe, which is a blessing, most important thing, but our livelihood, our home, our memories, everything gone. Oh, wow. Yeah. Some of the pictures I received yesterday, it's Hiroshima. I mean, it is burnt and nothing. I mean, you look at the floods and you look at the hurricanes and they're awful and they're horrible and they're horrific and the wide swath that thing takes. But you look at these things and you're not picking through anything. Like this is like your house goes into an ashtray. That's what it looks like. And again, unlike a lot of these other ones, how fast it's moving, the unpredictability has caused numerous deaths that we have never seen before.
How many people are dead isn't clear. The remains of 44 victims have been found here in California, and hundreds more are missing. The number of dead jumping with this announcement from Butte County Sheriff Corey Honea.
An additional 13 human remains have been recovered.
Now in Butte County, mobile morgue trucks and a mobile DNA lab are being brought in to help with those human remains that are found.
Just a horrible situation. Not going to get any better. I implore everybody to do what you can, because think about it once again for a second. It's Tuesday, and next Tuesday you've got nothing. Think about that. You can text the Red Cross, pound 90999. It's simple. It's easy. We like quick in this country. Nothing's quicker than that. I think it's $10, and away it goes. And it is a win, and it's good to give. It is. It's good to give. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. More shakeup potentially happening at the White House. Not a shocker, right? Not a shocker. Looks like now that we could be seeing some people leaving. Kirstjen Nielsen may be on their way out. And potentially Kelly. The fight is there. Trump, I don't know what it is. I know he likes confrontation. I got no problem with that. I got no problem with a little fighting. I got no problem with a little chaos. I think it's good every once in a while. You need that. I remember this weekend. You remember this, Phil, from the movie Bohemian Rhapsody, when he went to do his solo album, and he said, I was sitting there doing my album, and I told everybody to do what I wanted them to do, and they all did it. Nobody pushed back. You need that in life.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great movie. For those of you not seeing it, it's Bohemian Rhapsody. It's a great movie. And you do. You need that in life. And I think the one thing Kelly gives Trump that other people don't give Trump is he's not a yes man. He's not a one of these people that is fawning over Trump. He is, he's come on, General Kelly, he's kind of a badass. And because of that, I think there's this situation where Trump in many ways gets frustrated, but I think calmer, cooler heads prevail because to me, I just think it's a good thing when you have that person who's willing to push back on you once in a while. Not all the time, not always being a contrarian, not always being the person that's going to fight you on everything. You don't want that. But you do want somebody who'll say, you know what, I think it's a bad idea. I think this is a bad idea. And I think Kelly does that. And now they're talking about Kelly being gone, Kirstjen Nielsen, and you're just like, what are you trying to do? Like, what is your goal? Is it only to what I see with Trump right now, and it's a frustration, is I see his inner circle getting smaller and smaller. And I don't like that. I see that kind of thing where it feels like it's getting a little bit smaller and smaller, and he's surrounding himself with people that I don't think are going to be good for his administration moving forward. And now, who he decides is going to replace some of these people, that I don't know. But if we are to be believed, you're looking, he said last week he's going to dump some people out. Wants to get some people out of here. This is what's going to happen. And it's frustrating. It is. It is a frustrating situation because I think he had a lot of stuff going for him. And somewhere along the line, I don't know what the message is, plus America, as far as voters go, let's be real. We are a fickle bunch. We do. We're a little bit of a fickle bunch. We like to go here. We like to go there. We pivot one way. We go another way. That's kind of what we do. So you had a lot of power, and we've taken some of that power. We've checked some of that power. Now what are you going to do? That is what I'm interested in seeing. What is Trump going to do from this point forward? And is he going to start blowing people out because he's frustrated? I don't know. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you. So if you're going to travel this weekend, coming up, and into next week, be prepared to understand what you're going to be facing because it is going to be ugly.
Thanksgiving travel is a headache most years. Experts now say it could be the worst ever starting this weekend.
We're expecting an all-time high for 2018 Thanksgiving travel. U.S. airlines are planning for 30.6 million people to travel.
Airlines for America's Sharon Pinkerton says the worst travel day, the Sunday right after Thanksgiving. Yeah, and it is, the lines are going to be insane. So I'm not traveling. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go see Jack. So I'll go down to San Diego, but I'm just going to drive down. I'm going to go down over the weekend, and we're going to have our little Thanksgiving like Monday, Tuesday, and I'm going to get back because I don't like to travel this time of year. And the lines, even pre-check, right? Like I pre-check,
And it's still going to be a mess. And here, we talk about this every year, right? Like whether it's the holidays, like Christmas and stuff like that, or whether it's a 4th of July weekend or whatever, that we know it's coming. They see it's coming. And it never seems to get any better. And to me, that's not a good thing.
We recognize that for a lot of passengers, they're seeing those lines are longer than what they expect, and we're going to change some of our procedures, either adding more pre-check dedicated lines or changing some of our internal procedures.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Again, it's just a placebo effect. To this day, I'm still not sure what they're trying to do. Here comes an 83-year-old woman who's incontinent. Oh, let's pull her out of line because I think she may be the next bomber. Is that still just the most incredibly asinine and stupid thing you've ever seen? Right? But, Chad, we don't want to racially profile. Okay, I get that. All right, I get that. But her? Right? Like, if you see a dude who's like 35 years old, a white guy, you want to pull him on a line, all right, I'll go with that. White nationalism, whatever. I've got no problem with that. But the 87-year-old woman, right? The 93-year-old man who is going home to see his family maybe for the last time and is in a wheelchair, and you feel the need to somehow pull him out of line because you think he may be the mastermind to something because you're trying to do what? Justify? That's why people get pissed. What happened to common sense? Oh, yeah. It's not common. That's the problem. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Somebody just texted in and said, Chad, is the reason some of these utility companies who really, like PG&E, when you look at a lot of these fires, it's their equipment that more often than not fail. Something happens, down lines, they never get to them. Is it because the environmentalists make it hard to clean up some of those areas? That may be a part of it, but a lot of it is they set this equipment up, and if you're familiar at all with these parts of California, there's not a lot out there. So they set this equipment up, they get it up and running, and then nobody goes out and checks on it forever. So whatever's going on, the elements themselves play a part of it. It's not like there's somebody sitting there watching these things, and God knows how many of them are out there. So over time, there's just not enough bodies, and they don't put that much dedicated time into this, maybe the way that they should. So, yeah, maybe some of it is the fact that you got some of those wackos out there, but some of it is also just that there's so many of them, and there's only so many you can attend to. I don't know. It's crazy. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. The Chad Benson Show.
Got that sniffling, sneezing, stuffy head thing going on? Time for your daily dose of Vitamin Chad.
White House Chief of Staff John Kelly's job status is once again uncertain. Sources tell ABC News that within the last few weeks, the president's once again discussed Kelly's fate with many of his top advisors, and Kelly has continued to grow distant from the president. This past summer, ABC News reported that Kelly had accepted the president's request to remain as chief of staff through 2020. The president's expressed significant interest in bringing onto his team Nick Ayers, currently Vice President Pence's chief of staff.
Yeah, and now White House Deputy National Security Advisor Mira Ricardel is out because apparently the First Lady's not a fan. First Lady said essentially she no longer deserves the honor of serving in this White House. What came from this, I don't know. So Trump's decided to can her. Lots of canning going on. Kirstjen Nielsen looks like she's on her way out. Everybody's on their way out. It's a revolving door. That's what's going to be at the White House now. Revolving door. We're coming, and we're going, and then we're coming, and then people are coming out, and the other people are going in, and you're on borrowed time. That's the way it is. I don't know about John Kelly. It's interesting. Sarah Huckabee Sanders, I thought she'd have been gone by now. I have to be honest with you. The fact that she stuck it out this long. You know what's funny? Is S.E. Cupp last night was on with Jimmy Kimmel. And if you're somewhat conservative, and I would call S.E. Cupp somewhat of a conservative, for me, I think she's whatever. But for the right, she used to be kind of one of the darlings out there. And if you're against Trump, you're fine. Like, we'll have you on, like, you're part of that team. You know what I mean? So it just kind of makes me laugh. And I'm wondering when Sarah Huckabee Sanders is going to go. And then all of these places will bring her on, or if she is going to be steadfast and along the way with the president. Because so many of them, as we've seen, the breakups have not been good. They've not been amicable, and things have gone a little, if you know what I mean. I'm just saying. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us each and every day at this time. By the way, I'm sipping on Earl Grey tea. I know it's weird. It's cold, but I'm having a little Earl Grey tea, even though my room is not cold. I just felt like it. And, God, I just missed. This is one thing I loved about England. It was this very much 7 tea. It's fantastic. It's warm tea. Normally I have iced tea. It's warm tea. It's delicious. Each and every day at this time here on the Chad Benson Show, we like to regale you with lots of fun. We do this simply by calling it the Urban Word of the Day.
It's time for the Urban Word of the Day, fam.
What? Right now?
Time to get a little more hip on the streets.
I can't understand a word you're saying.
Urban Word of the Day.
This one is interesting. I like it. The kids are using stuff. Tuning in. Tuning in. Now you're thinking to yourself, well, what does that even mean? Is that some sort of thing where they're like tuning in to watch a show? No. You could be out, maybe at a club. Too old to be in a club, but you could be out at a club, and you could see somebody, a girl. She's like, ooh, what are you doing? I'm tuning in. Like to see what's up with this. I'm going to put this, here I go. I'm tuning in to her. See that? Like, so you're focused, you're hyper-focused, you're looking, you're admiring. And not in a hashtag Me Too creepy way, but more of like, hey, I'm listening to what you've got to say. I'm tuning in. I'm flirting with you. Tuning in is your urban word of the day.
Thank you for saying that in dated urban slang so that I'll understand you.
That there was the Urban Word of the Day. We damn stretched your cranium.
Hundreds of demonstrators gathered outside the office of House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi demanding more efforts to combat climate change. Representative-elect Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez was one of them. Ocasio-Cortez was not arrested and left before arrests began, but after speaking in support of the activists. Ocasio-Cortez also tweeted she spoke with Pelosi about how our commitments to climate change should take shape in the 116th Congress.
All right, climate change. You know how I combat climate change? With a jaunty tune. People holding hands and singing. Ocasio-Cortez there. I saw memes going out. Well, there's a funny meme I posted, and I'm sure I'm already getting hate from some people out there. Everybody needs to be able to relax. I've got nothing against Ocasio-Cortez. I got zero. I hope she does a bang-up job. I genuinely think she has a heart. I don't think she's a bad person. I don't agree in her politics, but I posted a meme that said, so... knows about how to get us all free health care and free college, doesn't know how to pay for an apartment. Chad, that's not very nice. Everybody relax. When did we lose? Oh, that's right. Political correctness made us lose our sense of humor. Everybody relax, for God's sakes. But I don't think singing is going to combat any of the climate change that they're hoping. Maybe you guys should go to China and India as well and sing there. Sing loud. They love it when you sing loud. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. It's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Kids, we're just getting started. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
So do you guys remember 6 days ago? Let's get in our Wayback Machine. So we get into our Wayback Machine. We go back 6 days. Trump is waking up to the realization that the blue wave hasn't happened yet. I believe it has happened now. Seeing everything the way that it's happened over the last several days as stuff trickles in. But there was just a trickle, and he's standing up there, and he's giving his speech, right? He gives his spiel because he loves to do this. He gives these impromptu, as I call them, free balling kind of speeches, like blah, 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 doing what Trump does and holding court, right? And the media loves it, soaks it up. But there was one in the media who, as we all know, likes to argue with Trump, who asks some really serious questions, but can be as combative and as limelighty as President Trump.
This caravan was an invasion. As you know, Mr. President,
I consider it to be an invasion.
As you know, Mr. President, the caravan was not an invasion. Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President,
that's
I was
enough.
going to ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr. President.
That's enough. I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Go ahead.
I think that's unfair.
You're a very rude person. The way you treat Sarah Huckabee is horrible.
Rude. You're rude. You know what I would have asked if I was him? Like, okay, so where can I work? Like Vox? BuzzFeed? You can work there if you want. Go ahead. It's whatever. But you just can't work at CNN. So that happened. And then later on that night, subsequently, out goes him. They take away his White House credentials. CNN filed a lawsuit today. They're going to get a hearing tomorrow in front of a judge about that. And it's interesting to see the way this goes because, look, I'm no fan of Acosta. I don't know the guy. I met him once. I think he, at times, could be a good journalist and a reporter, but I also believe that got a little bit of the ego, likes to be the foil, likes a lot of those things, and they kind of martyred him, which to me was really something I wouldn't have done, but other people also echoed that sentiment.
The spotlight to whether the Trump team overreacted, and I've said, I think by doing that, the White House kind of made Jim Acosta into a journalistic martyr, and most of the news business standing behind him.
Acosta should have lost his press pass a long time ago. This has been going on for way too long. He's using these briefings to make himself famous and divert attention away from the valuable information that the public wants onto confrontations. It is not fair. He should have been gone a long time ago.
Now, let's first and foremost, and I've done this before, and I think we need to just revisit it quickly, and please forgive me. Journalist and media are two different things. There are good journalists out there. It's hard to make a living as a good journalist, right? That's like being a pro bass fisherman or a pro bowler. It's hard to make a living, right? Can I get a ruling on that, Phil? Kind of hard to make a living?
Just a bit.
Just a bit. Pro bass fisherman. There's a few of them, but outside of that, so you got to do other things. And he's making seven figures. This guy is not getting paid like $200,000. I'm going to go out there and say he's probably making closer to $1 million plus. So they expect certain things. He has made himself big. He goes to Trump rallies everywhere. He's the eye of the crowd. They can't stand him. He signs Trump things. They love to give him shtick, and he loves to give it back. He loves to argue with Trump. He went there that day, and his intention, I think, was to cover something, not knowing where it was going to go. But once the Q&A, if you will, began, his intent wasn't just to be like, hey, I'd like to ask you a question.
His intent was not to seek information. During the briefing, he said, quote, as you know, Mr. President, this caravan is not an invasion. This is not a question. It's a statement. Acosta specifically put himself in a contrarian position to sort of provoke a response from President Trump.
Right.
These briefings are supposed to provide information to the public. Acosta's wasting valuable time, and he's rude.
And I will agree with some of that. Trump, the attitude, I say this, and I get blowback from people out there. Oh, Trump's fighting the media. It's all fake news. Journalists, media, separate the two. BuzzFeed and Vox and Daily Kos and Breitbart and all this stuff, I don't count them as journalism the way journalism was. And there are still people out there that are going to give you the who, what, when, how, and why, and they're going to do it as unbiased as possible and allow you to make up your mind. So let's separate the two. Because now it's all about opinion because you need clicks. In a day and age, I'll tell you how these people make money. And not so much Jim, but a lot of other people, is it's about clicks, right? That's how they make money. You see them, how many times, it's like going to a movie. Every one of us has seen a movie where we went like, I went and saw that movie and all the cool stuff in the trailer wasn't in the movie. You'll go and read a headline about something and then you're like, oh, I'll click in there. And then what do you get? You get very little about, if anything, about that. It's just a grab. So you've got to be big and bold. He likes it, though. He likes the limelight and spotlight. So now they're going to go to court. And they're going to battle over this. And a lot of people out there are saying, look, you know what? This is a good thing. This is about his First Amendment rights. Now, CNN has 50 credentials. This was just him. This wasn't taking anything away from CNN.
We're advocating a legal principle that there should be a fair process, that there can't be discrimination based on the fact that President Trump or anybody in the White House doesn't like questions. Those principles are important to get enforced here to protect other reporters, other news organizations across the spectrum, whatever their questions are, because the reporters are there to get information so the public can know what's happening, so the public can make decisions about how to govern themselves. So it really is a much bigger question than Jim Acosta or CNN.
Yeah, and I get that. And if the media was being shut out, I would understand that. Let's just remember the predecessor to this character in the White House, Trump. There was another guy in there called Obama who had some issues with Fox. And at one time, all of the media said, if we're not going to do this as a group, because they were keeping Fox out, we're not doing this at all. And I applaud them for that. This isn't that, though. This is a singular person. This is not a network itself. So that's going to be very interesting. Nobody's saying he can't report. Nobody's going to say he can't do any of these things. Nobody's saying any of those things, and that's the way they're going to approach it. But if I'm CNN, I'm doing the same damn thing. Absolutely.
And I think, Ted, we should remind our viewers this is not about politics, right? This is about constitutional rights. Your co-counsel representing CNN in this case is Ted Olson, who represented President Bush in Bush v. Gore and won that case for President Bush.
Exactly. And Ted Olson and I both, we come from different political viewpoints, actually, even though we've been partners for 30 years. But that's the whole point. The First Amendment is meant to allow all viewpoints.
Yeah, all viewpoints. But in this day and age, there's no such thing as all viewpoints, because if there's a viewpoint that some people don't like, it's like, oh my God, it can hurt my feelings. Then we freak out about that. So tomorrow, when they have this hearing, I'll be interested to see what ends up happening. Are they get some sort of temporary injunction to make him give him back his White House pass? Or is the judge going to go, they're not restricting free speech. They're just saying this guy here, they're not a fan of this guy. They're not even saying he can't report. They're not saying Jim Acosta can no longer report. He can no longer be a reporter in Trump's America. They're not saying any of that. What they are saying is, not this guy, not here. He can report on me outside. He can write stories, op-eds. He can go on television, do whatever he wants to do. Nobody's stopping him from saying that. But as far as him following me around from now on, we're going to pass. So this will be very interesting to see the way they take this on. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. Love hearing from you, my friends. So there was a bidding process.
More than a year ago, Amazon touched off a bidding war among 238 cities vying for the company's so-called HQ2 and its promise of 50,000 new jobs. Amazon said it would split it between a site near the Pentagon that Virginia agreed to rename National Landing and Long Island City, Queens, across the East River from Manhattan and the United Nations. Nashville will become home to a third East Coast hub with an additional 5,000 jobs.
So Ocasio-Cortez and a lot of people in the Queens area are mad because what's going to end up happening is people are going to be moving in there and they're going to need places to stay. And this is where gentrification comes in. Next thing you know, people are being priced out. People who own property are going to be figuring out ways to upgrade it and or to get people out who aren't paying what is going to now be market rate in an area where it's not market rate right now. Now, producer Phil, you and I talked about this earlier. You live in what area of the country?
Arlington, Virginia.
And you, too, will be enjoying the magic that is Amazon H2. And we've talked about this. You're looking at, what, a two-bedroom, two-bath house in and around that area going for $750,000 to $1 million?
My rent's gone up 3 times since the show started.
Fantastic. And it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse. So it's crazy to watch the way that people fought over this. 200 cities fought over this. So 200 cities. There was I'm just trying to think, one state, I don't know what state it was, offered to essentially carve out a piece of area, right, of land, make it its own little city and call it Amazon. Like, that's what it was willing to do to get all of these jobs that are coming there. And the amount of money they're giving away, the amount of money that, I don't know, I looked at it very much like a football stadium, right? A football stadium. Do you want the taxpayers to pay for the football stadium? I don't want to pay for football. I understand why some places want to do it. You want to be relevant. You don't want to be the San Diego Chargers and watch your team go down to Los Angeles, potentially win a Super Bowl this year in front of 8 people, but the possibility's there. But in saying all of that, I also can't bitch if a guy says, look, I'll build my own stadium, but normal people can't come see it because it's the worst ticket's going to be $1,000 because I paid for everything. So you're like, oh, so it's a give and take. These people went to the mat to try to get Amazon, like giving them huge tax. And New York gave them massive, massive, massive tax breaks. And they kind of touch on the tax breaks kind of thing.
If you're Amazon and you're sitting there making a decision, looking at the numbers, you go to Texas, you go to Florida, you go to Virginia, who competed here, they have about half the income taxes that we have.
Yeah. But you're talking about personal income taxes because you gave them a ton of tax breaks and they're going to do some stuff. They're going to build some schools and do some other things there. But you gave them a lot of corporate tax breaks. And this is where people bitch and moan. This is why when I say capitalism is great, except for the part where you have to go court power to get stuff. And people were willing to give it all up to feel like they got something. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. Love hearing from you. Speaking of capitalism, flowers. Now, I know what you're saying, Chad. How are those capitalistic? Because I'm giving you the greatest deal in the history of deals right now. What are you waiting for? 1-800-Flowers.com. 24 multicolored roses for $24. Now, that is diversity, kids. It's only $1 a rose. Only $1 a rose. You look at her and you say, honey, I love you. And what she doesn't know is she's like, oh, my God, he spent $1 million. And what you're like, oh, no, I didn't. 24 for 24. Happy Thanksgiving. Maybe your aunt can't come. Your Aunt Clara can't make it to Thanksgiving, but you want to say, I love you, Aunt Clara, because you want to make sure you're still in her will. You send her these 24 for 24. It's amazing. It's simple. It's easy. All you have to do is go to 1-800-Flowers.com. You're going to get 24 multicolored roses for $24. But when you go there, there's a little radio icon. You click on it, click, click, and then you type in my code Benson, and boom, you get it. So it's 1-800-Flowers.com, code Benson. Hurry, though. Offer ends Friday. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter, ChadBenson. The trial of the century, well, at least this century, Chad Benson Show.
Being antisocial sucks. Hang with Chad's friends on Facebook, The Chad Benson Show. And if you just need some alone time, head on over to Twitter at Chad Benson Show. Either way, we can't wait to meet the real you.
Joaquin Guzman helped transform the Sinaloa cartel into what federal prosecutors called the largest drug trafficking organization in the world. James Hunt, the just-retired head of the DEA here in New York, said it's fitting El Chapo is standing trial in the United States.
Most of the havoc he caused was to the United States. Not that he didn't cause havoc in Mexico, because he did, but we're the consumers of all these goods.
Hunt ascribed thousands of deaths to El Chapo's drugs, and federal prosecutors will show evidence of more deaths by his henchmen to consolidate his power.
Yeah, and it is, I can't even imagine what this trial is like because of what they're doing as far as the length they're going to protect people. Remember, all of these drug kingpins, the last thing they want to do is come to America. They're willing to do anything but come to America. They want no part of coming here because they know what awaits them.
Prosecutors have filed a 17-count indictment in this case, and those charges include murder, drug trafficking, conspiracy, and money laundering. Essentially, prosecutors are here arguing that El Chapo was involved in dozens of murders himself. He is also alleged to have smuggled hundreds of tons of drugs into the U.S., and prosecutors are arguing he made billions of dollars in drug deals, not only here in the U.S., but around the world. And so if convicted, prosecutors say he will spend the rest of his life in prison.
Yes, he will spend the rest of his life in prison. But how do you convict a guy? Because you got to look over there and go, well, we need a jury. I'm going to pass on that. If you think that I'm going to be part of the jury, that is a negative, ghostwriter.
There were so many potential jurors who had to be dismissed because they were too scared to participate in this case. And so the jury who were picked, they will be escorted to and from the courthouse every day throughout the trial by U.S. Marshals.
But who do you even trust at that point in time? Do I trust the guy making $75,000 a year after 30 years and he's still struggling to retire, or $50,000 a year, whatever it is, getting ready for his gold watch? But here's somebody getting to him and saying, hey, here's $10 million. You can get some jury to do something. What? I'm just saying. Chad, I'm just saying is all. God. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Remember to donate money to the fire victims. Pound 90999 for the Red Cross. I think it's $10. Do it. Simple. It's easy. We like convenience. Speaking of convenience, picture this. You're sitting at home and you're saying to yourself, God, I'm starving right now. I could use some amazing grass-fed and grass-finished beef, or incredible free-range organic chickens, or maybe some heritage pork with all of their fat and flavor in it. And then bing, bing. You're like, what? And you go to the door and you open it, and there is a butcher box. A box filled with meat. The best cuts, premium meats that you're never going to see anywhere. So high quality, you can't even see it. It's that high. That's what Butcher Box gives you. Competitive price, less than $6 a meal. And now, for the Chad Benson Show listeners, that's you guys out there, the Chad Benson Show listeners, if you order now, you get $20 off, plus free bacon for the entire life of your subscription. Boom. And bacon, as we all know, is God's fruit to us. Go to butcherbox.com/Chad. That's butcherbox.com/Chad. Butcherbox.com/Chad. You are going to love every bite of it. I promise you that. At Chad Benson Show. It's your Twitter. Check us out on the old YouTube as well. And Facebook. We do lives there and all kinds of stuff. That's the Chad Benson Show on Facebook as well. It is that aforementioned show, Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
President Trump and Governor Scott seem dead set against counting every vote. Why? Because they're worried that if every vote is counted, Bill Nelson will be reelected as senator.
So, it's about the best you can say. The Florida. I mean, Arizona was a mess, but the mess is cleaned up. Still some votes being counted, but yesterday, Kyrsten Sinema, she won. She's on her way. You saw the state turn purple. Then you look over and you see Florida and you say, well, what are you waiting for? That's a good question. That is a great question. What are you waiting for? I don't know. But my question is, how are we in this mess all the time with elections? How are we in this mess? How do we get to the point where apparently some people thought you could vote online because of the hurricanes and they were going to get a special dispensation to vote? I mean, there's just so much just ridiculousness that has gone on. It's sad. It's sad. We are a week done, removed. We have moved on. A week. 1 week removed. And they've got to get it done by when? Thursday? Because there's going to be a recount. I mean, at this point in time, I feel like let's just have the recount and let's just start all over again. Let's come up with one set of rules because this is a joke. Arizona, same kind of thing. Antiquated system. It's got to be better. It was got to be better. Not better. Now, if you're Trump, you take a look at last week. So you've got a situation where, Scott, DeSantis, you're hoping there's a victory there. Not quite sure what's going to happen. It's going to be a recount. Then there's probably going to be a runoff. Who knows what will come of it? There's lawsuits competing everywhere. You just saw Arizona, very red, uber red, become purple. The Democrats are looking there, and they're just, they got a smile on their face. So not only did it become red, you had a Democratic senator elected since the first time since 1988. She, Kyrsten Sinema, openly bisexual. Apparently that's vitally important for some people. I don't see anybody. It's so funny because only in the left-wing articles of stuff that they talk about that. Like, nobody, it matters for some. Doesn't matter to me. I care if you're capable or not. But here's a woman who, Code Pink, one time she called herself a communist. They played all these things. She sympathized with the Taliban and all this stuff. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. I mean, she went up against Martha McSally. Right? A veteran. First female fighter pilot in combat. And I'm like, and that was my big thing, was because I saw during this last election cycle is a lot of people didn't have ideas of what they wanted to do. Some tied themselves to the hip of Trump. Others ran away from Trump. Some won who ran away. Some lost. And same thing. Some who tied their hip to Trump lost and some won. But not a lot of ideas. And everybody's like, well, she's a veteran. How can they do that? Just because you're a veteran doesn't mean that you should automatically win. And I was talking to somebody that's like, well, it's not about her service. It's not about her service. She's amazing. What she did was incredible. But when I listened to her commercials, it was uber negative. It was awful. Nothing. I learned nothing other than this other person, don't vote for her because she wore a pink tutu and she said she was a communist 10 years ago or whatever, and she made fun of the state and blah, blah, blah. But I learned nothing about you other than you were a veteran. My uncle, several tours in Vietnam. God rest his soul. He's since passed. He was a veteran. And I wouldn't have let him run for anything. I would have totally dissuaded him because it's not a good fit. He wasn't good at anything. He wasn't. So if you're, though, the Republicans, you're looking out there. You're seeing the fact that Beto almost beat Ted Cruz. That's huge. Demographics are shifting nationwide. A younger, more vibrant group of people who are engaged in a different way. They're not always active they're engaged in a lot of ways. Yeah, let's do this. Woo! But they're not always active when it comes on voting day. But I do believe they're going to get there. A good portion of them are extremely educated. And in those educations, those bastions of learning, they've been in many ways indoctrinated to the left side of thinking. So what do you do if you're the Republicans? Because I do believe you've got an issue.
Looking forward, it does represent kind of a realignment in our politics. Arizona, Nevada, now pretty solidly Democrat.
Nevada is solidly Democrat. Arizona.
Sure. But Texas is moving. And if you look at the demographics, it's all good news for the Democrats and bad news for the Republicans.
There is some of that. And part of that is that younger voter demographic. So if you're the Republicans, you got to start figuring out what you're going to do. We talked a bit about it before with what are the message? Because the Democrats, their message has been simply, we're nicer and we're not that guy. So everything they run against is that guy. But you've got to come up with a message too. And if you're standing back and you're saying, okay, a week ago, it didn't look like a blue wave. A week on, and there's a chance it's not going to be a tsunami, but it's definitely more of a wave than it was a trickle. What are you going to do? And that is a huge question because the Democrats are looking around going, Nevada? Hey, we made some headwaves in places like Texas. There's some things we could be doing here.
in the Senate a map that everyone agreed favored the Republicans, Trump country, red states, where at the end of the day, Democrats may lose one seat. They may, depending on what happens in Florida, come out even. That is a big victory. And you're seeing, wave elections are when a bunch of people vote in ways that, that you wouldn't expect them to. So I don't know if this is a wave. It is a realignment. The voting public has gotten younger. It's gotten more diverse. It's gotten more suburban. All of those things are a positive sign going forward for Democrats.
Yeah, it is. It's not panic time yet, but I will tell you, the way it's going, it is going to be very hard for the Republicans to recover in the coming future if they don't start to figure out what their message is. If I'm the Republicans, I look around and say, all right, we need to do something. And one of those things is there is a lot of failure to declare, don't want to declare independence out there. And we know that those are the people we have to get. And there's a lot of people, and more people are becoming, quote unquote, libertarians, for whatever word that you want to use. Independence, libertarians, a lot of people throw that out there, but conservatarians is what you should be looking at. How do I grab these, who knows how many millions? 40, 50, 60 million? How do I grab them? What do I need to do to grab them? Because the message that we've lost our way. If we're going by pure values of conservatism, Donald Trump's not your president. Right? If that's what you're looking at. Especially if you're running on the, family values and all this stuff, he's not your president. So then what? What are you running on? Because eventually he's going to leave. So if I'm out there right now, I'm looking at the libertarians and I'm saying, how do we get them? The same way that, the Democrats have figured out exactly who their group is. They're looking at the young, which is a massive. They've got the, how should we say this, financially strapped, right? Underachieving, poor, whatever you want to call it. They've got them. The diversity crowd, the African Americans, the Latino Americans, the LGBT, they've got all those things. Now it doesn't always resonate with them, and sometimes they fail. But they're understanding a lot more. Their message sucks. And they've got to figure out, because those people also want to be served in a way that isn't, we just hate Trump. That's a good and easy message now. So what do? If I'm the Republicans, I better start coming up with something. Because right now, I look out across the landscape, and I said it out here. Arizona's coming purple. The fight's on. And the demographics are showing, especially in bigger cities, you're going to find this more and more. Purple and eventually blue in some areas. So you better start figuring out what your message is to keep it purple, so you have a fighting chance in these things, and opportunities are going to come where your message will win out. But whatever that message is, you better come up with it sooner rather than later. And it better be broader than, well, they'll just like our message. And if they don't like it, then go somewhere else. Because guess what you're going to be doing? Going somewhere else, too. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, man. I'll tweet at you, Chad. I'll tweet right at you. Well, that's what I'm going to do, tweeting at you. And we were talking about this earlier, about travel, because travel is going to be just a I'm traveling next weekend, but I'm not going to be traveling during the week I'm going to travel, go see Jack, and then I'm going to be done. But the amount of people that are going to be traveling next week.
Thanksgiving travel is a headache most years. Experts now say it could be the worst ever starting this weekend.
We're expecting an all-time high for 2018 Thanksgiving travel. U.S. airlines are planning for 30.6 million people to travel.
Airlines for America's Sharon Pinkerton says the worst travel day, the Sunday right after Thanksgiving. Andy Field, ABC News, Washington.
Yeah, so I would want no part of any of this. And next week I'm going to drive. I'm going to do it early. Jack and I've got our early time. But it's crazy. And I'm looking at the TSA, and I'm looking at all that's going to happen. And I've never got the travel on the holiday thing. I just haven't. And when you think about, we were talking about this yesterday, travel alone, especially if you're going to an airport, because I got to fly a couple times next month, and I'm already dreading, because I know that, okay, So I get there an hour and a half to 2 hours before to try to get through the line because it's going to be busy. I take off my shoes. I got to do this, and I'm going to sit there, and then it's going to take me 45 minutes, an hour to board my plane. Then we'll get on there. We'll sit on the tarmac. Then we're going to fly, and then when we get there, we've got to unload the plane and the whole. And you're like, that's 4.5, 5 hours for your hour flight. That's crazy. It is. And it's going to be worse because now, even with pre-check, they're saying, don't think you're going to be just zipping in and out. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Hey, not smart and smart. Not smart traveling on that Sunday after Thanksgiving when it's going to be a zoo. What are you doing? What are you doing? Not smart. Not using ZipRecruiter. Because if you use ZipRecruiter, you know how smart you are. Holidays are coming up. You're fighting to find the best employee. You want to be smart? That's where ZipRecruiter.com/Benson comes in. Let me tell you something, guys. People are fighting over good employees. They're looking not just for bodies, for good employees. You know what it is right now. If you're a good employee, there's a premium out there for you. ZipRecruiter is how you're going to find your next great employee. All you have to do is go to ZipRecruiter.com/Benson. I'll tell you how you're going to be able to get yourself on there for free today. And when you put your job out there, they're going to analyze what you're looking for, the skills, the education, all of that stuff. Then they're going to go to work, and they're going to, after they highlight all those, they're going to start inviting people who match that criteria to apply for your job. They're going to do that. Then they're going to highlight those. And then you're going to go, what? Because you're going to realize it's been less than 24 hours, and you've already found a fantastic, amazing, incredible qualified candidate. ZipRecruiter is rated #1 by employers in the U.S., according to Trustpilot, with over 1,000 reviews. Now, I told you about ZipRecruiter.com/Benson. That's where you can try it for free right now. ZipRecruiter.com/Benson. 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 ZipRecruiter, smartest way to hire. It's the Chad Benson Show.
You go, boy.
This isn't about right or left. This is just about right and wrong.
Right you are, Chad. The Chad Benson Show.
The campfire north of Sacramento, hundreds still missing, many more grateful to be alive.
There's explosions everywhere. Oh my God, people's tires are popping.
Michelle and Daniel Simmons and their 4 kids barely escaped the flames.
It's okay, you guys, it's okay. Just keep going, baby, keep going.
There was a woman on the side of the road running with her baby.
Do you know if she made it?
We don't know.
Simmons' entire family, more than 50 people, all losing their homes.
Just awful, and I've had listeners up in that area have been sending me pictures the last couple days in the Paradise area where there's nothing. And remember, this is one of those things where it came out of nowhere. And the weather, like a lot of times, hurricanes. Hurricanes come. It's not like it just shows up. It's like, oh, my God, we didn't know it was coming. There's a satellite. Now, you don't always know how big it's going to be, and you see what takes place. Tornadoes, there's a kind of that weather. You know what type of year you could be, but even then. But the hurricanes and wildfires are crazy, and they go on for months. People don't realize that these wildfires, not an earthquake, but these wildfires, they're still fighting wildfires from months ago. It takes them a long time to get a handle on this. And nature, as we always say here on the old Chad Benson Show, nature will mess you up. And nature right now is not participating in a kind way for the firefighters.
With destruction already across California, unfortunately, there's no rain in the forecast until at least next week. There is a red flag warning in Southern California through Wednesday, and there is thick smoke smothering a large portion of the state.
Yeah, and that red flag warning is because they have the devil winds, the Santa Anas, which means it is not only in usually high temperatures, 80s, 90s. On top of that, you've got hurricane-like gusts that are rolling in there, 70, 80, 100-plus miles an hour, which is making it so tough to fight a fire because you may cut a line, and the next thing you know, it jumps that line, and there's nothing you could do about it. So it is going to get worse before it gets better, and I think this thing is going to go on for several weeks, and who knows how much more damage and how many more lives are going to be lost. 323-538-2423. That is the text line. So it's 323-538-CHAD. You can also call the program because we have now, Phil. I was trying to think our call line because we never is it 844-DIG-CHAD? Is that what it is?
That's what it is.
Oh, God, we were awful. Phil wouldn't even know how to answer the phone. Say hi to Phil. Hi, Phil. Hi, Phil. How you wave at him? 844-DIG-CHAD, or you can text us directly 323-538-2423. Follow us on the old Twitter as well at Chad Benson Show. Great way to get in touch with the program. I try to answer everybody as best that I possibly can. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
It is World Kindness Day. How cool is that? Are you being kind to one another? Now, I want to take you back a week ago, almost. It's 6 days ago. This was not kindness. President Trump, the day after the election, takes to the podium, gives his little spiel, talks about how great it's going to be, how it's better for America now because he can work with the Democrats, yada, yada, yada. Jim Acosta, CNN, gets up. Next thing you know, it's a little bit of a battle.
This caravan was an invasion. As you know, Mr. President, I consider it to be an invasion. As you know, Mr. President, the caravan was not an invasion. Mr. President, if I may ask Peter, one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President,
that's
enough. I was going to ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr. President.
That's enough. I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Go ahead.
I think that's unfair.
You're a very rude person. The way you treat Sarah Huckabee is horrible.
So we remember that. Later on that night, they yanked his White House credentials. Yeah, you saw it, yanked them. You yanked the credentials. So away go the credentials. CNN filed today a lawsuit to try to get his credentials back and said that they're impending on his First Amendment, freedom of the press, First Amendment rights. And the White House said, there's 50 CNN White House credentials. 50. Just not this guy. And then the question was, did he grandstand? Was there more to this? And I said, look, both of them played a part in this. I think the way that Trump acted and things he says and he continues to say about the media at times is ridiculous. In saying that, I think Acosta loves it. He eggs it on. You should go to some of these events and these rallies. He likes being the villain and the foil to Trump and Trump supporters. So I think there's a part of that there.
This was just the latest example of Acosta derailing these briefings and making them into a circus. His goal is to debate Donald Trump and put the attention back on himself.
Yeah, and I think there's something real there. I think he likes it. He wasn't there for a question because we no longer have question and answers, right? It's gotcha questions. It's gotcha, just gotcha. It's lure you with something. Hey, let me ask you something. Hey, those are nice shoes. Where'd you get those? By the way, and then boom, boom, boom. So there's gotcha moments, and a lot of people are looking for that. If you're a journalist, you're looking for a gotcha moment. If you're interviewing somebody, you want a gotcha moment because that's going to get you more hits. It's going to get you more, shares and likes and all of that stuff and page views, which in this day and age you need. And the money, I'm sure Jim Acosta is not making $100,000 a year. I would assume he's probably making well into seven figures. So he's a bigwig there. And he likes it big time. And I said, I think he wanted to be a part of it. Big. He put himself in that situation. He did. He said, look at me. I'm big time. Let's do this. And I have no problem with a little bit of the fighting. I have no problem with that. But you wanted to debate. You weren't really into getting some of his answers. And you took a lot of time away. And that has been kind of the thing that people have talked about in the White House press corps is Jim likes Jim.
His intent was not to seek information. During the briefing, he said, quote, as you know, Mr. President, this caravan is not an invasion. This is not a question. It's a statement. Acosta specifically put himself in a contrarian position to sort of provoke a response from President Trump.
Right.
These briefings are supposed to provide information to the public. Acosta's wasting valuable time, and he's rude.
Yeah. I think there's some of that. But what Trump did, I thought, was childish. I think it was absolutely childish. And I think that he, at some point in time, you're the president. Let it go. But he can't because he likes a fight. And now he's going to get one. And I think at some point in time, Acosta will be back. I do. I don't think they're going to pull his credentials forever. But you're the president. Act like it at times.
Press is misbehaving in some cases?
In some cases, but the way the president has responded is so beneath the office he holds, and the way he is cracking down on reporters, the names he calls them, the accusations he levels against them.
Loved every minute of that press conference, every single reporter in the room. They were begging him to keep going. They were begging him to do more of these kind of events. It was utterly transfixing.
Yeah. Well, they like that because it's eyes. It's what do we talk about all the time with Trump? And so many people out there, people in my industry, people on television who've been given a second life because of Trump. They've been given their careers have been given a shot in the arm because they can't talk about anything. They're not interesting people themselves. So what ends up happening is Trump comes along and their coverage of Trump makes it seem like they're really doing something. When the reality is, hey, if Trump went away today, I got no problem with it. Zero. I don't like always talking about Trump. Those people love it. They need it. He is a media star for them. Absolutely 100%. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So Arizona is now gone a little purple. Florida's a mess. Continues to be a mess. You knew it going in, it was going to be a mess. This should be our shock face right here. So who knows after all the lawsuits are said and done, who's going to get what? I couldn't tell you. And Georgia, the lawsuits were going to be there from the moment that here's the guy. Right. So this guy's running to be governor and he gets to be the person who oversees everything. What? Yeah. So that thing's going to be put away for a while, too. So you had some problems. But what is it that took place? Was it just singularly Trump? Because some of these people that lost stayed away from Trump. Some of these people that lost embraced Trump. McSally embraced Trump in a place, Arizona, that hasn't had a Democratic senator since 1988, that is diehard red, and lo and behold, who wins? Who beats her? I mean, she is the poster child for, you've got a woman who's the first combat fighter pilot in combat. She's in combat. And she loses to a woman who is code pink, says she was a communist. They blow her out of the water. For her words bite her in the ass. But the reality is I don't think she's all of those things anymore. And some of the stuff she said about, Arizona being the meth lab of democracy, I thought was kind of funny, but it is what it is. So what is it? Is it solely Trump? I don't think it is. I don't think it is at all. And I think there's a lot of things that need to be addressed. And now it's going to be the Democrats who are going to have the opportunity to address those things. And what I see now in politics is it's the other team's failure is your path to success. It's not you being better.
The American people, I think, put the Democrats in the majority because of health care. That was on the ballot. So we'll try and collaborate where we can to restore protections with health care. Let's get that infrastructure plan done that the president wants to do. Let's make sure that his wages stay flat, that we find a way to give tax cuts to people who work on every floor, not just the top floor. So we can collaborate if the president wants to come to the table and do deals.
Well, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens if they're really going to do that. But there's something to the fact that I think the Republicans don't have a message. And we keep talking about neither side has a message. The left's message right now is we're not him. But the right's message, when I talk to 3 or 4 people who are Republicans and I ask them what their message is, what do you think? We stand on our values. Really, do you stand on your values? Because you got a guy in the White House whose values are a little shaky if you're looking for the family values, if that's the route you're going to play. So I don't know about that. Yeah, free trade? Okay, we're going to step back. Well, I mean, there's a lot of things that you can say, okay, what do you really do? The reality is I think a lot of people like him because he wasn't Hillary, and he likes to fight with the Democrats, which I think is big. And now you have to ask yourself, what is your message? Because you've got states that are turning purple and will eventually turn blue. And that's something to think about. It's not just Arizona, but Arizona's a big key player in this because this is a red state. It is a red state. And now it's more than it just wasn't Kyrsten Sinema winning. There was several wins across the board at the state level that surprised a bunch of people. And now the Democrats are looking at it because they know they've got California locked up forever, New York locked up forever. Where else can they go? And when you think about it, well, it's only 2 places. But then you start to realize it's okay, how many people are here? There's 40 million people in California. So there's 12% of the nation. You look over at New York, and oh my God, you start adding these things, these big places up. What is next? And what is your message going to be? This is where I talk about the 2 Americas. We're going to have a rural America, and we're going to have a America that is suburbia and urban that is going to be very much dominated by the left, and you better start changing your message. And if I'm the Republicans, I say to ourselves, we got a couple places we can go, kids. One is we can stand here on the things that we've thought were going to take us on and on forever and realize that we've got to start making some sort of move into another area, or we're going to be obsolete soon. So what is it we do? To me, I look at the libertarians and I go, we need to start embracing them. There's a lot of young people, and with the young being a huge voter bloc in this country, soon they are the biggest. And if they ever show up in numbers, I think the Republicans will be in a lot of trouble. But how do you get to them? Libertarian. They're not all crazy left-wingers. They're not. But left to their own, and not courting them in a right way, they're going to run over and they're going to choose Bernie over Trump. So you better figure out what you're going to do. Because going forward, I look across this country and what I see is a changing demographic of tons of college-educated young adults who in many ways have been indoctrinated by only one side of the aisle, and they're willing to give that a try first before what you're offering. So you better figure it out. At Chad Benson Show, ChadBenson, 323-538-2423 is the text line. Text away. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Running with scissors sounds great compared to this.
Say what?
Amazon Echo and Dot users in the 18 rejected cities can ask for Alexa to apologize.
Chicago. Sorry about the HQ2 rejection. Los Angeles. You didn't get the part. We really wanted to move to Denver. But we also really wanted to get some work done.
Each city has its own personal apology. There's even a message for the 2 winning locations.
Hey, New York and Crystal City. Sorry about this whole Splitsville thing.
The apologies were created by a third-party Austin-based ad agency.
Hey, 200 of you were up for Amazon, and only 2, it's like Highlander, but not really, got it. So you can now go, why didn't we get it? Hey, wherever you are that didn't get it, the reason you didn't get it is because you're a back-ass-word town. Wah, wah, wah. You should be lucky you didn't get it. You should be. You should be lucky you didn't get it. The Monday Night Football disaster has been averted. So Monday Night Football, last night, I watched the big game. It actually wasn't a bad game, even though the 2 teams are awful. So they have really struggled Monday Night Football. They have got the short end of the stick. Seems to be Sunday Night Football seems to get everything. But this Monday night is going to be great. They're Mexico City, the Azteca. It's going to be awesome. Say, what? They're in Mexico. You've got the 9-1 Rams taking on the 9-1 Chiefs, arguably the two best teams in the NFL, though the Saints may have something to say about that. I mean, this was going to be it. Mexico was uber excited about it. No mas! Shakira, bad weather, several soccer games have now moved the game to Los Angeles. The NFL announced a little while ago they're moving the game to L.A. because they just say that there's no way that either of these teams would feel safe playing out there. Say, what? Now, here's the weird thing. Both of those teams aren't even at home. The Rams went straight to Colorado Springs because they play at altitude. In Mexico City, it's even higher than Mile High in Denver. And I believe Kansas City was also in Colorado training. And now they're both going to be heading to Los Angeles. Although if I'm them, I'm staying there because the weather is with the fires and the smoke is so bad. I'd stay far away from it. UFOs. What are you talking about, Chad? I'm talking about this.
You know that target south of the boundary there, that 0027 code moving very fast at 37,000?
Oh, look at that thing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Huh. And you don't have anything on him, huh?
I got nothing.
Yeah, it's United 612. It's just a white speck out there. I mean, we can see it, but there's no identification on it, just that it's there.
Where this guy ended up, we don't know.
Oh, so we still don't know.
No. The fighters scrambled. They went out looking around a little bit, but we lost anybody having sight of the aircraft.
Wow, that's weird.
That's
really weird. Yeah.
See, that's weird. So UFOs have been spotted over the last several days from as far away as Ireland. Yes, there's UFOs there. We're not quite sure if they're UFOs. We've been drinking a little bit, but I think it's a UFO. To the western part of the United States and the Southwest, and pilots are now reporting it. And I'm telling you guys, they're here. They're feeling it out. They're scoping. This is recon. Now, what are they scoping for? I don't know. We could be their snacks for all we know. That is a possibility. Or we could be just like their pets. And they're just coming to check us out. Want to make sure that we're okay, that we have anything. Do we need anything? Do they need to drop us off something so we can advance a little bit further? Say, what? If you watch Ancient Aliens, a lot of that's about that. 323-538-2423 is the text line. If you'd like to call the program, you can join us at 844-DIG-CHAD, 844-344-2423. That's the call-in line. There are two separate lines. So don't be mad at me if you call one when you should have texted, or if you texted one when you should have called. Don't be mad at me. Don't be. You know what you should be mad at? Yourself for not dressing awesome. Now, normally I'm a pretty casual dresser. But I've kind of upped my game because I'm doing more stuff, TVs and videos and whatnot. So that's where Bombfell came in, and they saved me. Bombfell is incredible. It's the easiest way to get the best-looking clothes. Here's the great thing. No hassle, no shopping required. All you do is you go on, you sign up. Bombfell then matches you with a dedicated personal stylist. So there's Bombfell. They've given you this person. My guy's named Michael. They talk a bit about your taste, your fits, the whole 9 yards. Next thing you know, it arrives at your door. You open it up, and you're like, what? You try it on. And these clothes are absolutely incredible. So you go and you try on all these clothes, right? You love them all. They're fantastic. Or you don't. You can ship them back free shipping. If you buy multiples, guess what you get, kids? Are you ready for this? You get 20% off. Go to bombfell.com/Benson. You're going to save $25 off your first purchase. That's BOMBFELL.com/Benson. Bombfell.com/Benson. Save yourself $25 right there. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. As we've been talking about, we'll continue to do so to help out the people that are being affected by the wildfires in California. You can text the Red Cross to pound 90999. I think it's $10, and it's a great way to help out. These people are struggling, and their lives have been turned upside down, much like we saw with what was going on in the South with the hurricanes. It's another way for us to just reach out and say, yes, do what you can do. It's a great thing when you can help, and many of us have the means to do even a little something. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. independent in thought, and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
New numbers in from Fire Command. The Camp Fire in Northern California is now at 125,000 acres with 30% containment. The Woolsey Fire here in L.A. County is at 96,000 acres with 35% containment. 44 people are confirmed dead statewide.
Yeah, not getting any better, only getting worse. And Mother Nature is going to do what Mother Nature does. And if it cooperates, guess what? You can get a handle on it, slow it down. It's a win. If Mother Nature says, I'm thinking I'm not going to listen to you right now. I'm going to do my own thing. And that's what Mother Nature is doing. Case in point, the devil wins.
The Santa Ana winds were forecasted to end last night, but now it's expected they'll be blowing through at least Thursday night. Red flag fire warnings have been extended now through Wednesday night and possibly longer.
So, guess what? Ugly, nasty, not helping at all. So when you look at this, here are the winds. They're whipping up. What that means is at any given point, they're going to jump fire lines. They're going to, as they try to, break the fire, they're going to jump those lines. They're going to do whatever they want to do. This fire is all they're trying to do is really follow it, fight it as best they can, push it in directions that's going to be away from homes. But as far as getting on top of it, it's not going to happen. And if it continues this way, we have a drought-like situation for the foreseeable future through at least next weekend before there's a respite. And if the Santa Anas continue, and they're a fickle bunch, you're looking at a situation where it is going to get far worse before it gets better. And then you've got numerous deaths, which they're still trying to figure out how many, but it is just the beginning because there are plenty still missing. And then you've got towns like Paradise, California, where several listeners have texted me pictures of what was their life. What was their life a week ago? That is the thing that if you just for a second stop down and say, what would it be like if I lost everything today? Well, my family may be safe, which is a blessing, most important thing, but our livelihood, our home, our memories, everything gone. Oh, wow. Yeah. Some of the pictures I received yesterday, it's Hiroshima. I mean, it is burnt and nothing. I mean, you look at the floods and you look at the hurricanes and they're awful and they're horrible and they're horrific and the wide swath that thing takes. But you look at these things and you're not picking through anything. Like this is like your house goes into an ashtray. That's what it looks like. And again, unlike a lot of these other ones, how fast it's moving, the unpredictability has caused numerous deaths that we have never seen before.
How many people are dead isn't clear. The remains of 44 victims have been found here in California and hundreds more are missing. The number of dead jumping with this announcement from Butte County Sheriff Corey Honea.
An additional 13 human remains have been recovered.
Now in Butte County, mobile morgue trucks and a mobile DNA lab are being brought in to help with those human remains that are found.
Just a horrible situation, not going to get any better. I implore everybody to do what you can because think about it once again for a second. It's Tuesday, and next Tuesday you've got nothing. Think about that. You can text the Red Cross, pound 90999. It's simple. It's easy. We like quick in this country. Nothing's quicker than that. I think it's $10 and away it goes. And it is a win. And it's good to give. It is. It's good to give. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. More shakeup potentially happening at the White House. Not a shocker, right? Not a shocker. Looks like now that we could be seeing some people leaving. Kirstjen Nielsen may be on their way out. And potentially Kelly. The fight is there. Trump, I don't know what it is. I know he likes confrontation. I got no problem with that. I got no problem with a little fighting. I got no problem with a little chaos. I think it's good every once in a while. You need that. I remember this weekend. You remember this, Phil, from the movie Bohemian Rhapsody when he went to do his solo album and he said, I was sitting there doing my album and I told everybody to do what I wanted them to do and they all did it. Nobody pushed back. You need that in life.
Oh, yeah.
It's a great movie. For those of you not seeing it, it's Bohemian Rhapsody. It's a great movie. And you do. You need that in life. And I think the one thing Kelly gives Trump that other people don't give Trump is he's not a yes man. He's not a one of these people that is fawning over Trump. He is, he's come on, General Kelly, he's a kind of a badass. And because of that, I think there's this situation where Trump in many ways gets frustrated, but I think calmer, cooler heads prevail because to me, I just think it's a good thing when you have that person who's willing to push back on you once in a while. Not all the time, not always being a contrarian, not always being the person that's going to fight you on everything. You don't want that. But you do want somebody who'll say, you know what, I think it's a bad idea. I think this is a bad idea. And I think Kelly does that. And now they're talking about Kelly being gone, Kirstjen Nielsen, and you're just like, what are you trying to do? Like, what is your goal? Is it only to what I see with Trump right now, and it's a frustration, is I see his inner circle getting smaller and smaller. And I don't like that. I see that kind of thing where it feels like it's getting a little bit smaller and smaller, and he's surrounding himself with people that I don't think are going to be good for his administration moving forward. And now, who he decides is going to replace some of these people, that I don't know. But if we are to be believed, you're looking, he said last week he's going to dump some people out. Wants to get some people out of here. This is what's going to happen. And it's frustrating. It is. It is a frustrating situation because I think he had a lot of stuff going for him. And somewhere along the line, I don't know what the message is, plus America, as far as voters go, let's be real. We are a fickle bunch. We do. We're a little bit of a fickle bunch. We like to go here. We like to go there. We pivot one way. We go another way. That's kind of what we do. So you had a lot of power, and we've taken some of that power. We've checked some of that power. Now what are you going to do? That is what I'm interested in seeing. What is Trump going to do from this point forward? And is he going to start blowing people out because he's frustrated? I don't know. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You could tweet at us. Love hearing from you. So if you're going to travel this weekend, coming up, and into next week, be prepared to understand what you're going to be facing because it is going to be ugly.
Thanksgiving travel is a headache most years. Experts now say it could be the worst ever starting this weekend.
We're expecting an all-time high for 2018 Thanksgiving travel. U.S. airlines are planning for 30.6 million people to travel.
Airlines for America's Sharon Pinkerton says the worst travel day, the Sunday right after Thanksgiving. Yeah, and it is, the lines are going to be insane. So I'm not traveling. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go see Jack. So I'll go down to San Diego, but I'm just going to drive down. I'm going to go down over the weekend, and we're going to have our little Thanksgiving like Monday, Tuesday, and then get back because I don't like to travel this time of year. And the lines, even pre-check, right? Like I pre-check, and it's still going to be a mess. And here we talk about this every year, right? Like whether it's the holidays, like Christmas and stuff like that, or whether it's a 4th of July weekend or whatever, that we know it's coming. They see it's coming. And it never seems to get any better. And to me, that's not a good thing.
We recognize that for a lot of passengers, they're seeing those lines are longer than what they expect, and we're going to change some of our procedures, either adding more pre-check dedicated lines or changing some of our internal procedures.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Again, it's just a placebo effect. To this day, I'm still not sure what they're trying to do. Here comes an 83-year-old woman who's incontinent. Oh, let's pull her out of line because I think she may be the next bomber. Is that still just the most incredibly asinine and stupid thing you've ever seen? Right? But, Chad, we don't want to racially profile. Okay, I get that. All right, I get that. But her? right? Like if you see a dude who's like 35 years old, a white guy, you want to pull him on the line, all right, I'll go with that. You know, white nationalism, whatever, I've got no problem with that. But the 87-year-old woman, right? The 93-year-old man who is going home to see his family maybe for the last time and is in a wheelchair, and you feel the need to somehow pull him out of line because you think he may be the mastermind to something because you're trying to do what? Justify? That's why people get pissed. What happened to common sense? Oh, yeah. It's not common. That's the problem. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Somebody just texted in and said, Chad, is the reason some of these utility companies who really, like PG&E, when you look at a lot of these fires, it's their equipment that more often than not fail. Something happens, down lines, they never get to them. Is it because the environmentalists make it hard to clean up some of those areas? That may be a part of it, but a lot of it is they set this equipment up. And if you're familiar at all with these parts of California, there's not a lot out there. So they set this equipment up, they get it up and running, and then nobody goes out and checks on it forever. So whatever's going on, the elements themselves play a part of it. It's not like there's somebody sitting there watching these things, and God knows how many of them are out there. So over time, there's just not enough bodies, and they don't put that much dedicated time into this, maybe the way that they should. So, yeah, maybe some of it is the fact that you got some of those wackos out there, but some of it is also just that there's so many of them, and there's only so many you can attend to. I don't know. It's crazy. Speaking of smart, you're going to be a smart person right now. ExpressVPN, virtual private network. You want to protect yourself. So many people in the world are worried about data breaches. Trust me. All right? I had my identity stolen. It's the worst, craziest, wackiest nightmare you'll ever go through. Don't chance it. Right? Don't do it. Do this. Get your own virtual private network, ExpressVPN, easy to use. Runs seamlessly in the background of your computer, phone, tablet, boom. Protection only takes one click and away you go. Secures and anonymizes your internet browsing by encrypting your data, hiding your public IP address. It is incredible, and it's less than $7 a month. Number one rated VPN is ExpressVPN by TechRadar. Comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, you use public Wi-Fi. You want to keep hackers, spies from seeing your data. What do? ExpressVPN. That's what you do. Protect yourself today. And when you do, you're going to get 3 months free. Boom! ExpressVPN.com/Benson. That's ExpressVPN.com/Benson. You're going to get 3 months free. It's on me with a year package. ExpressVPN.com/Benson to learn more. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. ChadBenson. The Chad Benson Show.
Feel free to punk this punk rocker any time of the day or night. Reach Chad on Twitter at Chad Benson Show and on Instagram at Chad Benson Show. And oh yeah, the Chad Benson Show on Facebook too. Punk that.
For months, Amazon dangled the prospect of a second headquarters outside Seattle, and cities offered the moon. Amazon has opted to split the prize between New York and Arlington, Virginia. Amazon will set up in Long Island City, Queens, and in Crystal City near the Pentagon and create 25,000 jobs in each location. Amazon said it would spend $5 billion, and it will receive about that much in tax breaks from the two cities.
Now, it's a win for some, lose for others. Producer Phil, you live in what area?
I live in Arlington.
Well, how about apples that are those apples? Winner, winner, chicken dinner. So what are you expecting? How much do you think prices will shoot up, considering that this is what happens when a company like this moves in?
I'm expecting this to start going the way of San Francisco, and I may start to look for another place to live.
Yeah, that's the insanity of it. And it's hilarious because 200 plus cities, really vied. They wanted this big time. And New York is going to be one of them that gets it. And they were very excited about it. Of course, there's going to be some taxes.
If you're Amazon and you're sitting there making a decision, looking at the numbers, you go to Texas, you go to Florida, you go to Virginia, who competed here, they have about half the income taxes that we have.
Yeah. And what is very interesting, though, is, first of all, Amazon doesn't care. Right? They're looking for qualified people. So they don't care because they're not paying those taxes. Remember, they don't do things like we all think, well, everybody just pays taxes. Like Amazon gets a big check at the end of the year and all the tax. It doesn't work that way. They're looking for great benefits as far as tax breaks. They got him. Ocasio-Cortez is super angry because one of the areas they're going to move into is going to make it essentially, probably for a lot of those people in and around that area, unsustainable for them to live there. Well, it sounds great. They're moving into an area of Queens and all this kind of stuff and all these things are going to happen. What happens when a company moves in like this that's going to create huge, high-paying jobs? Massive, great-paying jobs. When that happens, this is where the gentrification comes in. Because people are going to live nearby. They're going to buy stuff somewhat on the cheap or willing to pay a little bit more than market value for it. It's going to start driving prices up. Plus, people who own places are going to be kicking people out. Right? Because they know they can charge triple for it because they got these people coming here. They're working for Amazon. So what do you do at this point in time? That's just it. If you're a person who owns property, though, in and around this area, oh, my God. What's the average median price out there, Producer Phil, in an area around Arlington like that? Because you're also in D.C., so it's expensive anyways.
For a house or an apartment?
Both.
Oh, good Lord. The houses in my neighborhood are going for, and they're really tiny, they're going upwards of $750,000 to $1 million.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what you're going to see. And in New York, it's already expensive. And some of these people that have been in these areas, and I understand why people are scared. If you're sitting there today, because the people that are cheering in parts of these areas, D.C. is a little different, but in certain parts of these areas, they think, oh, these jobs are moving here. We're going to have these great jobs. Those jobs aren't for you. Those are Manhattan people who are going to take those jobs. Those are people moving from outside. The local person probably isn't getting that gig. Oh, geez, that's poopy news. But if you own property, you got to smile. Sell it. Move to Texas. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. The fight is on at the White House. Jim Acosta taking on Trump again, this time in a court battle. What? Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent in thoughts and punk rock in life. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The people who live here in this neighborhood were evacuated and only got back in on Monday. And with flames erupting once again in the hills above their neighborhood, they're watching in worry.
I'm nervous. I'm stressed out now. I didn't think it would come this close.
Air attack is above us, hitting the flames hard. Firefighters have been gaining containment, but the flames here indicate this fire is still very much alive.
Yeah, fires everywhere. California is on fire. The air quality is abysmal. It is only going to get worse before it gets better. You've got the Santa Ana winds, the devil winds, which are not slowing down. They were supposed to essentially be gone by today. Now it looks like late tomorrow into Thursday, and who knows, and there is no respite as far as the weather's not giving them any break as this fight continues. And when you look at the amount of damage that's been done already, that's just structural. Couple in the fact that you've got numerous deaths and who knows how many people are missing. And unfortunately, will probably, when they do find them, that will not be good. That this is a horrible situation. So I'm telling everybody, do everything you can, just like we did for everybody in Florida. Just a little bit helps. Pound 90999. As for the Red Cross, they do great things with the money. And think about this for just a second. It's Tuesday, and you wake up and life is great. Flash forward a week, and you've got nothing. If you're lucky, all of your family members and your animals are fine, but you've got nothing. You've got no house. You've got no business. You've got nothing. And so many of these people have lost everything. So just, think about that for a second. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Jim Acosta and Trump. You guys might remember this. This is about 6 days ago. The little squabble they got into.
This caravan was an invasion. As you know, Mr. President, I consider it to be an invasion. As you know, Mr. President, the caravan was not an invasion. Mr. President, if I may ask one other question, are you worried?
That's enough. That's enough.
Mr. President,
that's enough.
I was going to ask one of the other folks.
That's enough.
Pardon me, ma'am. Mr. President.
That's enough. I'll tell you what, CNN should be ashamed of itself having you working for them. You are a rude, terrible person. You shouldn't be working for CNN. Go ahead.
I think that's unfair.
You're a very rude person. The way you treat Sarah Huckabee is horrible.
Horrible. So later on that night, after all of that, what do we have? Well, Trump and the White House pull Jim Acosta's badge there. Not a good thing. I didn't think it was a very good thing at all. I think that was a bit childish. Lo and behold, lawsuits, here we come. And now they want his badge back, saying they're impeding on the First Amendment. His First Amendment right. And, of course, we have free press. And the White House is firing back saying, you guys got 50 CNN badges. It's just this guy.
We're advocating a legal principle that there should be a fair process, that there can't be discrimination based on the fact that President Trump or anybody in the White House doesn't like questions. Those principles are important to get enforced here to protect other reporters, other news organizations across the spectrum, whatever their questions are, because the reporters are there to get information so the public can know what's happening, so the public can make decisions about how to govern themselves. So it really is a much bigger question than Jim Acosta or CNN.
Well, look, watch sports, right? Watch sports. How many uncomfortable conversations do reporters? Do you think for a moment, if you've ever watched any sports, that you want to be in the losing locker room of a Super Bowl, of a World Series, of an NBA championship, or any of those things? No. Do you think for a moment you want to interview the likes of Greg Popovich or, any of these, Bill Belichick? God, no. Right? You don't. So there's some awkwardness already, and they don't want the same asinine questions you're going to ask over and over again, just like you don't want to answer. So there's some of that. One of the things that they talked about for the transparency that was Obama is the fact that he crafted everything so meticulously. The way that they went about crafting the questions. Okay, I'm going to take questions on this alone. Where Trump freeballs it, as we always joke about. He goes out there and he puts on a show and it will go for 90 minutes, but in it you're going to get all kinds of things. And so it becomes kind of this crazy, nuts, like it's awful at times. It's a free-for-all. But Jim Acosta, in fairness to Trump and the attitude that Trump has towards the media, I understand some of the media, right? They pass themselves off as journalists, and they're really not anymore. They've ceased being journalists, and they're more about clickbait than anything else. I get there's some of that out there. In saying that, Jim Acosta wasn't there strictly to be pals and to ask a singular question. He was there to puff up his chest and to get into it with the president.
His intent was not to seek information. During the briefing, he said, quote, "As you know, Mr. President, this caravan is not an invasion. This is not a question. It's a statement." Acosta specifically put himself in a contrarian position to sort of provoke a response from President Trump.
Right.
These briefings are supposed to provide information to the public. Acosta's wasting valuable time, and he's rude.
Yeah. I think there was a little bit of that. Do I say, is it all on him? No, it's not all on him. Trump gives as good as he gets, and he likes a fight as much as anybody else. But Acosta pushed it. He did. And he wanted a confrontation, and he got it. Now the lawsuit's coming, and we'll see how this thing goes.
And I think, Ted, we should remind our viewers this is not about politics, right? This is about constitutional rights. Your co-counsel representing CNN in this case is Ted Olson, who represented President Bush in Bush v. Gore and won that case for President Bush.
Exactly. And Ted Olson and I both, we come from different political viewpoints, actually, even though we've been partners for 30 years. But that's the whole point. The First Amendment is meant to allow all viewpoints.
Yeah, and it is supposed to. They're not saying he can't interview and ask questions. They're saying his White House credentials been pulled, right? He could still go be a reporter. He still has all of that stuff. They have 50 of them is their argument. They've got 50. CNN has 50 credentials. So it's not like they pulled CNN, unlike somebody who didn't want Fox involved at all. That person shall remain nameless. Obama.
So this ruling will protect everyone in the press, and again, every citizen, no matter what their political affiliation, so they get as much information as they can get, so they can govern themselves. Exactly. This is not a political issue. It's a First Amendment issue that is really important to our society.
I'm going to be interested to see how this thing plays itself out, because they're not saying he can't be a reporter or have his First Amendment right. Not saying any of that. And I thought it was childish and beneath the office. That's just me. Other people thought it was a good thing. Oh, he's a jerk. And look, you see him at some of these places. He likes being the villain. He likes being Trump's foil. He likes the fact that you want to be Batman? I'll be the Joker. Let's have some fun. He enjoys some of that. Would I have done what Trump did? No, I would not have. But I'm not Trump. Trump is Trump. He likes a fight. He's not going to change. That's the funny thing. When I watch stuff like this and people think, well, Trump needs to change. Obviously, after all of this, he's not going to change. You should realize that. And I keep seeing people thinking, oh, this is it. This is when he's going to change. I could tell he's going to change. He's going to change. I could tell he's going to change. He's not going to change. Trump is not going to change. It isn't going to happen. You can think, oh, he's going to change. He's not going to change. But he's not going to change. It's just not going to happen. It isn't. The way that he approaches politics, the way that he feels that people have wronged them. And we talked about when he first got into this, and it really looked like, okay, he's going to be the nominee. I said, here's the thing about Trump. Trump is a billionaire. He's a successful guy. And he's a guy, all of these guys have long memories, right? And if you wrong them, they remember that. They really, really remember that. And then we did a piece with Richard Branson talking about when he met Trump, that he thought they never really met before. They never going to talk. And it was just this weird, awkward thing where he goes, I thought we were going to talk about, airline business and all of this stuff. He goes, we sat down, and for the entire lunch, all he talked about was the people that wronged him, how he was going to destroy their lives. He was going to make it their mission to build his life back up, and that didn't help him, bail him out when he needed it. The people that he turned to failed him, so he was going to destroy them. And I'm like, that's him. Nothing's changed. Trump is that way. And nothing's going to change with him moving forward. Nothing. Nothing is going to change. It's going to be the same old same over and over again. He is going to fight. And for those people who are looking for him to tone his rhetoric down, to change maybe the way he does stuff, to stop calling the media the enemy of the press, he's not going to do it as long as he still has an audience and a base that will support him in that. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. I think sometime today we could get some sort of Mueller indictment. CBS is reporting that there may be an indictment. A lot of people are reporting it's going to be Roger Stone is going to go down. So we'll see what happens. Are the chips falling, or is this just another, hey, look, we got this guy on something, but it really has nothing to do with what we were looking for? That remains to be seen. Glint is amazing. So being in the financial industry for a while, I've got several friends who are in Europe, and they started talking about this a while ago. And they said, because we used to trade physical gold. And a lot of people went out and they bought physical gold, and they didn't know what to do with physical gold. So they get it and they store it somewhere, and they get charged a fee, and it just sits there, and they really can't spend it unless they want to get rid of it. And lo and behold, comes a company like Glint. And what they've done is they've changed everything. So if you've got gold out there and you don't know what to do with it, Glint's what you want to do with it. You can use it for e-payments. Think about that for a second. You can use it for the first time ever as a global currency in real time with an electronic point of sale. Get a little MasterCard, you go out there, and boom, you can spend right off your gold. What? Yeah, that's incredible. fair pricing for travelers, independent, reliable form of money, regulated and safe choice. I mean, it is incredible. And the beauty of it's your control. You're your own everything when it comes to this. So if you've got gold and you're thinking, I've got it, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, you're storing it somewhere, it's not really doing anything other than what? Going up a little bit, going down a little bit, but maybe you'd like to use it without selling it all. This is where Glint comes in. Check it out for yourself. Go to glintpay.com right now. Check it out. Look at everything over. You're going to be amazed at what you're going to be able to do with it. It's going to excite it. For so many people who bought gold for all of these years, and what did they do with it? Nothing. Just sits there, waiting, hoping. They can't spend it, right? Nobody. You can't go down the street and go, oh, I'd like to have that. Here's some gold. Oh, no. Doesn't work that way. Now it does with Glint. GLINTPAY. GlintPay.com. It is the most reliable source of value. Glint is the only way to spend it. Go to glintpay.com today. That's glintpay.com. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Check out thechadshow.com. You can go there and check it out. Grab yourself a podcast. They're absolutely free. You can also like us on Facebook, Chad Benson Show. It is that there, Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
So this took place the other day, and it's getting out there. A mystery indeed, if you look into the heavens, the skies. And nowadays, more than ever, pilots are not afraid to talk about certain things. And take a listen to this.
You know what? That target south of the boundary there, that 0027 code moving very fast at 37,000.
Oh, look at that thing.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Huh. And you don't have anything on him, huh?
I got nothing.
Yeah, it's United 612. It's just a white speck out there. I mean, we can see it, but there's no identification on it, just that it's there.
Where this guy ended up, we don't know.
Oh, so we still don't know.
No. The fighters scrambled. They went out looking around a little bit, but we lost anybody having sight of the aircraft.
Wow, that's weird.
It's really weird, yeah.
Pilots are like, I don't know. Happened in northern part of Oregon, California. You had Phoenix, same thing. In Arizona, Ireland over the last coming week. This is it. It's the movie The Signs, right? It's the movie Signs. They're here. They're here. This is it. They're among us. They've come. What can we do? Well, Trump will build I don't know if he'll build a wall. Would you build a dome? Do you think he'd do something like that? Probably build a dome. Got to build a dome. Man's got to have to build a dome. Trump, let me tell you about domes. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Yeah. That's crazy, though. And I have a buddy who, two of them that still are. One flies for Eviair, and the other one used to fly for Virgin. He's retired. But I'd ask him, I said, you guys see stuff? And this guy's like, yeah, you see some stuff, and you don't know what it is. You know, it's fast, and it's zipping around. I'm like, it's crazy, right? I'm like, yeah, it is, but you can talk about it now. Before, it's like, no, don't say anything. They're going to think you're crazy. So that's nuts, though. Yeah, we can't be alone, right? We can't be alone. I'm thinking we can't be alone. There's just no way. I'm going to go with no. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at us. So how old is too old? I saw this story and I thought to myself, no. So a woman by the name of Sharon Spink. Sharon, she's from England. Sharon's her name, and her daughter Charlotte. She's 50, daughter's 9. Daughter still breastfeeds. What? Yeah, still breastfeeds. Because she wants to naturally wean the child. Rather than force the issue, she wants the child to have control of that issue. She has 3 other older children. She's trying to break the stigma around extended breastfeeding. Sorry. I know Jack, he was breastfed until the point where he bit, and she's like, I'm done. We're done here. We're done. 9's ridiculous. Now, people are like, it's sick, and they call her perverted, and she's a pedophile and stuff like that. I don't know about that. But I do find it like 9 is too old, right? Can we all agree? And when you look at it's amazing. Breastfeeding is amazing. It's great for the child. The biological age of weaning for the human species, according to the CDC and Texas A&M University of anthropologists, is about 4.3. On average, 57% of babies are nursing at 6 months, 25% exclusively through 6 months, but fewer than 36% of babies are still being breastfed at 12 months. That's just too much, though. 9? Sorry. I'm sorry. You've jumped the shark there. Well, the stigma is you have a grown human being almost latched to your boob. That's the stigma. It's not a baby, right? It's not. How weird is it if you're hanging out with your friends, like, hold on, I got to feed. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Text the Red Cross. Give. Text pound 90999. I think it's $10 right there. Give. Help the people in California. Your useless fact of the day, Phil, you'll love this one. The spacesuit takes 5,000 hours to make, cost $1 million, has 11 layers, and weighs 110 pounds. Soak that into your brain. Have yourself a wonderful rest of your Tuesday. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.